It's hard to breathe in. I feel constricted. I feel fear. I'm feeling constricted. I'm feeling a lack of oxygen. That means I have a lack of flow. But I still have this on. I'm holding this mask up for a reason. This mask represents the old approach. This mask represents the old approach. The old approach to how you approach everything in your day. And we don't really think about it. Let me take this off real quick. Divine Rising, Grand Rise, blessed be to the day. This right here. Put it up one more time. This right here. This is a part of the old approach. Everything connected to this aspect of you is based on the old way that you used to approach, how you approach things. When we understand that to understand approach, we have to understand that all things are interrelated. This is apparent and manifested through the actions of approach. The fuel to the sensitivity process, the source of all divine revolutions. Let's take that off. Everything that you did based on that mask. Oh shit, let me turn this off. I hit my volume. Oh, that's why. Everything that we do based on where we're at inside of ourselves, we develop the mask. We develop the mask to approach life. And everything that we created in that space became related to that mask. Everything that we put on was related to that mask that we put on. Every opportunity that we look for to tap into that consistency with ourselves, we're going to base it on that mask that we wear. The many masks that we will put on throughout our day. When one approaches life in this manner, how can you grow? How can you embrace growth if it is you behind a mask? First, we have to understand the mask that we wear. Our opportunities that we'll receive that are interrelated to that mask, when we take it off, we feel like we're going to lose those opportunities. But that's based on that fear aspect. So if I approach things through fear, if I approach things through this fear mindset, then everything that is related to my growth, as I light my incense, everything that is related to my growth, or my constriction rather, will be based on fear. That means I will approach everything with the impulse. And as we've been going out throughout the week, we'll be approaching everything basically as a liability. When we approach things through fear, we accept the limitations of liability. When we approach things through fear, we accept the limitations of liability. When one learns how to move when one learns how to first move through fear to learn themselves, fear is no longer needed. Fear is the greatest asset. Fear is the greatest asset that is used to keep you consistently doing what you are doing. Fear is the most consistent tool that is used to keep you related, to keep you in a state of relating to things, to keep you into a state of relating to things. It keeps you in that state of, I relate to everything based on my mask. It's not until we take off that mask that we actually can tap into consistency. So I'm gonna give y'all a double head. I'm gonna do a reading as we're doing it. Consistency. All the opportunities that this mask gave you, all the opportunities that mask gave you, will be affecting you tapping into the consistency of your growth. Every time you put this mask on, every time you put that mask on, that's of the doubt, that's of the pain, that's of the fear, that's of the neglect. Every time you put that mask on, everything that is going to connect to you or be related to you is going to be based upon that mask. It ain't you. This stops us a lot of times from actually growing. Just as simple as you putting on this mask, you see there's got these two little nose holes. There's no place for you to breathe out, so you can't breathe. So now your breath, as I talked about yesterday, your breath is out of whack. You can't take in the deep breath without fear of cutting yourself. You can't take in that deep breath. So if I can't take in a deep breath and control my breathing through everything that I'm going through, it gets real shaky because of the insecurity, because of the pain, because of the fear, because of that lack of confidence in myself. Then what are my thoughts gonna reflect based on my breath? If my breath is erratic, that means my thoughts are erratic. If my thoughts are erratic, then my words become erratic. They all come out on impulse. I'm feeding into that space. Therefore my actions that are created based on those, my actions that are creating in my space, they're going to be based on that same mask. Now my environment matches the mask. My environment now matches the mask. So now when I'm feeling because this is when you're addicted to it, you're addicted to that release, that feeling, because you haven't learned how to define that energy within yourself, that charge. So now when you go into that space and now you coming down, you start going through the withdrawals. You start doubting yourself. You start going through doubt. You start going through bargaining. You start going through that stint of that depressed energy. You start going through everything that gives you a state of feeling complete. You go through everything to enhance you staying in the space of being complete without the mask. I can't be complete. I can't finish my day if I don't have this. I can't approach my day without having a reason outside of myself. The only reason that you got to do is wake up is to be the best. The main reason to wake up is to be the best. That means everything that I do in my day is going to be teaching me how to become the best. If I wake up with the mindset simply in asking myself questions before I go to bed. Give you an example. I ask myself questions before I go to bed. I ask myself the questions. What do I want to achieve tomorrow? What do I want to achieve for the day? How do I get further and become optimal in my potential? How do I remain further limitless? How do I come into the next level of how do I embrace now that I'm healed? How do I become the time? I ask myself those questions before I go to bed. As I set those in my mind, as I'm going to bed, setting myself up, I allow myself to ask those questions, taking those deep breaths to those questions, focusing in those questions, and I allow myself to go to sleep. I allow myself to set. When I rise, now I'm giving myself the answers. Now everything in my path is an answer. Everything in my path is an answer. We understand that the answer is the potential to break the limitation. So now you tapping into that limitation. Now you tapping out of that limitless cycle. Now you tapping out of that limitation cycle. That statue of limitations. Don't feel bad if you can't get to what you're trying to get to right now. It's already there. You have to believe that. That's based on you. The thing that'll stop you is that old mask. Someone to come up wearing that old mask of doubt that related to you based on doubt, and you can talk about, yo, I'm about to go to school, or I'm about to go to school, or I'm about to go get this, or I'm about to start my business, or I'm about to have the most greatest day ever. Here comes the reflections of that very mask giving you their issues, their problems, telling you about their day, telling you about their ongoing struggles, telling you about everything that's going on in their life. And then there you go, starting to feed on that energy. Unconsciously, because you approached it, they approached you because you approached that space based on there's doubt still within you. So they make you doubt. So you react to the doubt. Stop reacting to the doubt. Stop reacting to their insecurity. Because the longer that you stay within that space, the longer that you keep approaching through that old realm of that old mask, that fear, the longer that you keep approaching everything through fear, you got to keep fear in your space. You got to keep some form of fear in your space. You got to keep a reason so you can't keep breathing. You got to keep a distraction around you. You got to keep that distraction around you. And it's hard for you to let go of the distraction because you've defined it as something that you need. Everything leads back to getting into yourself. Learn to approach outside of fear. The old approach is fear. Everything down here, fear is the greatest asset. Fear is the greatest asset to keep you as a liability. Fear is the greatest asset to keep you a liability. If someone comes to you and they bring you their thoughts or their fears on an action that's going through in their life, and then you agree, and then you're like, well, you got to understand that sometimes you looking at it based on the biases. What does it connect to? What does it connect to? Your homegirl come and tell you about her man ain't shit. Her man keep cheating on her. Her man keep going upside her head. Her man keep doing all. Her man just don't do anything. What is your response? What's your response to her? Girl, you know it's hard to find a man out here, and you start giving this wayward excuse because you're relating it to something about yourself, and you're speaking through that same fear channel. So you may have meant well, you had good intent with what you were speaking on, but how did you challenge her? How did you challenge her? Because the quickest thing that you're going to say is, when you going to leave them? They're not going to leave them because they still need them to define emotional aspects within themselves. Why? Instead of asking that, ask, why do you think it's so easy for him to do what he's doing? Why do you think it's so easy for your man to do what he's doing? Your girl keep going on trips and messing up your credit and messing up your life. Why do you make it so easy for them to do it? Why do you think it's so easy for them to do that? It's based on your approach. How you originally approached that situation. If you approach that situation with no limitations, open to being vulnerable, open to learning, then you understand that it's a part of that contract in that space. But if you approached it based on this to complete you, you approached it based on being complete, that predestination complex. All I want in my life is to have the family of my dreams that I never had. Okay, now you're looking for things to complete you. All I want to do is learn. All I want to do is teach. All I want to do is further heal. All I want to do is build and expand. So my approach, everything's a reflection for me now to experience the learning process and observe my results, to observe my path, becoming the observant in my space. Think about this. Look at how you approach your day. Think about it to yourself. How do you approach your day? From day to day, how do you approach your day? When you wake up, how do you set the tone of your day? Are you in a rush? Are you in a rush? Why are you rushing? Everybody got the same 24 hours. You feel like you're going to miss something. You thinking like if you're not moving, you're not being productive. Here's the truth about productivity to yourself. Are you being productive in creating and setting things into motion for growth? Or are you simply procrastinating? That's the pro in productivity. Are you just procrastinating and ducking the activities to better you? Are you being productive? Or are you just proactively procrastinating and ducking the activities that it takes to tap into the inner aspects of you? Ask yourself the simple question. Give yourself the most simple, realist, true answer to you. You know what you're doing. You know you've been doing it. But that leads into what we're going to get into tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're going to get deep into understanding, breaking the code of transhumanism and the cosmic authority. Breaking the code of transhumanism and tapping into that cosmic authority. Friday night, 8 p.m. Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is up now. G.O.D Alchemist YouTube channel. Tune in to tap into that. If you haven't tuned in and tapped into this week's podcast, it's up as well. What's stopping you from becoming the healing? What's stopping you from becoming the time? What's stopping you from becoming your best? What's stopping you from becoming your greatness? It's how you're approaching it. One that approaches through fear accepts the liability of the limitations, becomes the liability to the limitations. One that moves outside of fear becomes limitless. I want you to be the best. You know, hit me in the inbox, GODicalchemistLLC.com. Schedule that consultation. Get your consultation in. Shadow work consultation, inner child healing, therapy consultation. Schedule a reading so you can get that clarity, get that past life fixed, get that present life path fixed, and we can get that consultation rolling. I want you to be the best. I desire you to be the best because that's what I desire of myself. I desire you to exceed all limitations because that's what I do from a day-to-day point. Learn how to approach outside of fear. Learn to approach through the openness that is going to take you to become your best. I love you. We love us. Ashe.